whole lot filmy story. Thopify their opinion. घर वाले इतने परेशान हो चुके थे ना in labor for more than 48 hours. It's abnormal to have my YouTube channel Simran Kaur. In today's video, I am going to share my birth story, which has been a whole lot filmy story in itself. One thing that I am truly blessed for is my husband, who has been with me throughout this journey in and out, and have definitely respected all my decisions, because I feel like men around us, they need to validate our opinions when it comes to our body, and especially during pregnancy, because it's only us who know what's going on with us. Another thing that I'm really thankful is that I delivered in Canada, because I don't know about India, no offense, no judgments, but being in Canada, I felt like the doctors, they actually listen to you, and they does not just thopify their opinion on you. So basically you have that space that you can decide what is best for yourself based on their recommendations, obviously. So without any further ado, let me take you guys along with me to a little backstory, which is the birth of baby Ilahi. So I delivered Elahi on Thursday, but the weekend prior to that Thursday, I was feeling like I have fluid leakage. Basically, I had to go to washroom very frequently, which has not happened with me the entire third trimester. We went to hospital to get it checked. An on-call doctor who checked me, they did a test and they found out no, it's not fluid leakage. But because I was already 40 plus few days, the doctor suggested me, you can stay here and we can induce you. And I'm like, no, there is no need, because my cervix was dilated. Up till that, it was in between 1 centimeter to 2 centimeter, which had been the case for previous 2 weeks. My scheduled induction was the 18th, and I still had 4 days to go, and anything can happen, because I was trying so hard to deliver my baby naturally. Cut to Monday, I had my OB appointment where they asked me if I wanted to get the cervix checked, which I said no initially, because I already got it checked on Saturday, and that has been just like in between 1 to 2 centimeters dilated for the past 2 weeks. So I felt like there is no point. But then they suggested me I should get it checked. Maybe if it's a little bit more dilated, they would be able to do another membrane sweep. So I said, okay, go ahead. And she did another membrane sweep. Mind you, this time my OB was on vacation. So there was some other OB who was keeping track on my pregnancy. And she was such a sweetheart. I owe my normal delivery to her actually. So she did a membrane sweep on me. Monday night went by, everything was all fine. Tuesday morning, I lost my mucus plug, and along with that it was a bloody show, little bit sign of labor, and I was happy, okay, maybe this membrane sweep worked. And as soon as I went back to bed, because I was not feeling it, so I wanted to sleep a bit more, I went to bed around 7 a.m. After that bloody show, contractions started. So I felt, okay, finally it's the time. But as soon as the contractions started, I tried to search on internet what to do once the contractions hit, and internet said you should stay active. So I woke up and I started with cleaning the house so that it can help to activate the labor more. But unfortunately, as soon as I got up from bed, the contractions stopped. The entire day passed by, nothing happened. So Tuesday night when I went to bed, I started having contractions. So I could not sleep throughout the night because I was timing the contractions. But apparently my contractions were 15 minutes, 10 minutes apart, 15 minutes apart, sometimes 20 minutes apart. So those were not regular contractions, which means I was not in active labor, but it was a good sign. And by that time, the same night, which is Tuesday night, around 8:30, I got a call from my hospital. They asked me to come the next day, which is Wednesday the 18th. They asked me to come for my induction. So anyways, I was going into labor the next day by induction, but that night itself contractions started, which were frequent but irregular intervals. So in the morning, 8 o'clock, we had our induction scheduled. By that time, even my contractions were there, but 15 minutes, 20 minutes apart. So that was the case. So I went to the hospital to get induced. They checked at that point. I was around 2 centimeters dilated, and as I was telling you, the doctor who took care of me instead of my regular OB, she's such a sweetheart. She knew that I wanted a normal delivery. So she asked me, you are 2 centimeters already, which means your body is progressing. How you want to do it? Do you want to get induced or you want to wait? I looked at my husband and I was like, no, I want a normal delivery. And since my body is doing its work, I feel like I would prefer to go home and try to stay active. They agreed on it and they checked the next day there was availability. So they booked me for an induction for 19th instead of staying in the hospital on 18th. We came back home and as they said, stay active. I finished my house chores and we decided to go to Costco so that I can walk more. So we went to Costco. I was 2 centimeters dilated at that point, and we spent there good 2 hours. Came back home in the evening again. The contractions were still the same, but 10 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart, not like 1 or 2 minutes apart, how it should be. So 19th morning, we went to the hospital. The OB checked me then. I was 4 centimeters dilated to my surprise. So I felt like, okay, my body is working and we are going there. So 19th morning, what happened is that there was no labor and delivery room available at that point. The normal hospital room was available where they checked me. So they said, if you want to stay here, you can walk around and see, but the labor and delivery room is right now not available. So it's up to you. If you want to stay in the room here, you can go for a walk in the hospital, like downstairs, or if you want to go home, the choice is yours. And I did not wanted to stay in hospital until I am in active labor, because I did not wanted to stay in a room, in a closed room, and just stay on the bed feeling like a patient. I did not wanted to do that. That was clear in my head. So we decided we will go back home. Again हम 19 को भी वापस घर पे आ गए. घर वाले इतने परेशान हो चुके थे ना, तब तक घर वालों को लग रहा था तुम जा रहे हो लेकिन बच्चा लेके नहीं आ रहे. घर पे आके I had my breakfast, then took a little break, then we did a lot of curb walking and we decided we will go to the outlet mall. So we went to Leduc outlet malls where we roamed around for a good 1.5 hours and my contractions picked up, which was a good sign. And I felt like, okay, maybe we can go to hospital now. But along with the contractions being picked up, I started having pain in my stomach. So we went back home and I decided, okay, maybe I'll try to rest a little bit and then we will go to hospital, because the hospital said once they have the labor and delivery room available, they will give me a call back. So I was waiting for their call. As I was resting, the pain was getting increased, and by this time I was already in labor around, I believe, more than even 50 hours. So my husband said, no, you are in very much pain, because my contractions at this point were 2 minutes regular, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. And the app in which I was tracking my contractions, that notified me that it's abnormal to have these long contractions, so you should hit hospital immediately. And luckily, around the same time, I received a call from the sweetheart doctor. She called me and she asked me how am I doing, if anything has progressed, and I explained her that this is what is going on. And she said, okay, you should come back to the hospital as soon as possible so that we can check you. We went to the hospital with fully planned in our mind that this time we will go home with baby for sure. We had to wait a little bit and then we got the labor room. They checked me, then I was 6 to 7 centimeters in between dilated, to my surprise. They had to still induce me because my contractions were irregular. Those were pretty long, but those were again coming apart 5 minutes. To make those contractions regular so that I go in active labor, they induced me with Pitocin. I was really scared about the induction. That is why I did not wanted to get induced. But to my surprise, it was not that bad. On TikTok, I had heard that Pitocin contractions, if you get induced with Pitocin, the contractions are really, really intense and it's much more painful than like normal contractions, which is what I was scared of. But let me tell you guys, if any one of you is going to get induced, be it any way, don't get scared. Trust the process, it's not that painful. Along with that, I would also like to mention one thing which has helped me in this delivery. There is this technique called hypobirthing technique, in which basically you train your mind how to handle those contractions, which is what I had followed. I started doing meditation, which helped me to connect with my baby, which helped me to take control over my mind and just train my mind that it is something that I can do. So in all those contractions that I was having, when my contractions picked up and when my contractions started picking up, I listened to those meditations that helped me to stay calm during the entire process. Coming to epidural, the nurses warned me, you're already 6 to 7 centimeters. The pains, the contractions are going to pick up. So if you want to have an epidural, you need to decide now. And I was like, no, I'm feeling okay. I will see if there is anything needed. Maybe I would not like to opt for epidural, but I will opt for some other option. I said, okay, maybe I will opt for that gas in case it's needed, but I don't want to take an epidural. I was so scared inside. I knew that it might hit so bad, as they were explaining to me that it might be very difficult once I reach that point, but I trusted the process. I was meditating throughout my contraction. I was breathing in and breathing out while I was in labor pain, and the contractions started to pick up. Those were 1 to 2 minutes apart. Around 9 o'clock or 8:45 ish, I felt like I need to go to the washroom. So my husband helped me to go to the washroom. We sitting there on the toilet seat in the fear that I don't want to deliver my baby right here in the washroom. I was in a state where I felt like I need to pee or poop, but nothing was coming out. I went back to the room and I explained that to the nurse. She said, maybe it's the time that you are dilated, but the contractions were really, really intense at that point. She said, I would need to check you how dilated you are. The contractions were so intense that she said, okay, I think it's time, your body is ready, I need to check. As soon as she checked me, she said, you are 10 centimeters dilated already, and if your body is pushing, do not like control yourself, your body is ready to get this baby out of you. So she called the doctor who was on call. 9:20 I started pushing. Around 9:30, maybe, I'm just taking a guess, because around the last 10 minutes of me pushing, the doctor said, okay, we can see the baby's head crowning, do not control now, push. Which was the biggest mistake that I made, that I heard to that doctor. I feel like I could just hear this thing from the doctor, otherwise I was in, like, my eyes were closed, I could not hear anything, and in my mind I was just thinking, okay, I'm this close to meet my baby. All the pain that does not exist for me, I just have to focus on thinking that I am ready to meet this baby. And she was delivered at 9:40. So basically I pushed for 20 minutes. Being a first time mom, I did not know that that is pretty quick. I had a normal delivery, but that was with a 3rd-degree tear, because I listened to the doctor and I pushed the baby when maybe the contraction was not there. So I would have waited actually for the contraction to be hit and not pushed and pressurized my body. That is why I feel like during pregnancy we need to understand our body cues, we need to understand how our body is feeling, and especially during the delivery time, trust the process and just understand how your body is working. Your body know when and how to get the baby out of you. So you don't need to push by yourself, your body will automatically push your baby out. That way you can minimize the risk of tearing, because the 3rd-degree tear, let me tell you, that is really painful. The postpartum experience is going to be painful for you. Secondly, now after the baby was delivered, She got delivered around 9:40. They started doing the stitches. Since I did not had any epidural or anything, I opted for numbing cream. And because it was a third-degree tear, so the doctor wasn't sure if the tear is too much. So she decided to wait for another doctor who was doing a C-section. So they waited for around like 30 to 45 minutes while I was having my baby on my chest. You don't actually feel that pain because you are with your baby, you are enjoying those first snuggles, and you are looking at your baby and thinking how precious this beautiful creature is that you and your husband have made out of love. But that pain is there, that tingling pain is there in your mind. So they waited for another 45 minutes. By that time, I was bleeding throughout. So that was another bad part of my delivery because I was bleeding so much during that entire process. So the other doctor came, then they did the stitches, and around 11 o'clock, we were shifted to the room. So, yes, that is how I was able to deliver my baby unmedicated but with more than 50 hours of labor pains. Am I going to regret the labor pain for this long? No, because that was my decision and I feel like I made the correct decision for me and my baby. She was perfectly healthy. My placenta was really healthy. So the decision that I took to wait until my contractions start on its own and not getting induced, because my OB wanted me to induce on 5th, which I declined. Instead of that, I delivered my baby on 19th, and until that time, my placenta, by God's grace, was healthy. Baby was healthy. This whole experience and the journey to motherhood is beautiful, beyond beautiful. So that was all about my birth story. If you have any other questions, I feel like I have explained pretty much each and every detail. But if you have any other questions, feel free to drop in the comment section. I will try my best to answer all of your queries. And if you're new to my channel and you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share, and don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel for more motherhood, girly, lifestyle, fashion related content. So that's all for today. See you in the next video. Bye.